Hello. What? Ice swimming competition? You want me in your team? No way. I never do ice swimming. But ice fishing, yes.
Hello.
Moi.
Terve.
Terve. Wow.
Oh no.
Jo. Gosh. I think I know him. So strange. I think, isn't that this American guy? The Roger? You remember?
It could be.
Roger! It's you! Hey! Wow! Oh, it's so good to see you.
It's really great to see you now. I'm just checking my calendar. I can't
Hey,
quite
hey,
remember why I'm in Finland.
No, but the last time, when did we saw each other the last time? In Vienna, we saw in Vienna, 2024, 2
Yes,
years ago.
of course.
Right?
It was that great conference.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember.
And now you made it to Finland from Austria.
Yes, I
Great.
did, but I'm just checking. Let me just ask ChatGPT, what am I doing in Finland at the moment? Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I don't know why I'm
But
here.
look, all these
Oh my
people.
Why are they here?
It's a good question. Wait. Oh, sure, of course. The Winter Swimming World Championships this week in Oulu. That's why they're here.
Winter Swimming World Championships in winter.
Yeah, I know, it's odd, right? But Finns like these crazy things to do.
Joo.
So let me see, maybe. Oh, no, I know. It's the Frozen People Festival in Oulu.
Frozen People Festival.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool. I don't think that all those people would come here for something like that, though.
Yeah, that's right. They don't look like that.
I know. The 2026 is the European Capital of Culture in Helsinki.
Not in Helsinki, in Oulu.
Not in Oulu. Come on, Thor, you're such a joker.
Of course, it's here, right here, in Oulu.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay, I think I would just ask around, like, oh, this guy. Hey, sorry to disturb you. Why you are here, actually? You wonder.
Perdona.
Oh, it's a Spanish guy. Okay. Hablas castellano.
Okay, yes.
¿Qué haces aquí?
But girl, I'm here for the EXA. Like, don't you know it? It's like the coolest EXA event of citizen
The
science.
EXA? Like this? No. Come on. You need first of all my hat.
I mean,
so
it's
please.
for all,
No. Then you need these things for your shoes. Yes. Take this. And you also need those things also for your shoes.
For
Then
my
you're
shoes,
good.
okay.
And maybe give some of those people because I'm not sure if they are really prepared to hear.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Cool. Ja. See?
EXA. Sorry, mä en ymmärrä. Siis, kenen EXA tämä on?
Ei siis eksä. Ei eksä, vaan eksa. Eksa.
Joo, mutta
Konferenssi.
siis miksi kaikki mun eksät niin järjestää tämän konferenssin nyt?
Eksa. Eksa.
Okei.
Ei huolta.
No, okay, yo.
No worry.
Got it, mate. EXA, citizen science. Okay. Citizen science in Finland.
But of course.
Why?
But we have citizens, people. We have science, so we can do citizen science.
Okay.
And we have in Finland the cutest animal in the world. It's perfect for citizen science. The flying squirrel. And somewhere there's Stefan, the flying squirrel man here in the audience. And we also have the wolverine, And the Wolverine has really cute poo, and many people collect those as well. And even here in this university, we have a very lively citizen science network led by Mickey. There's Mickey over there. Hey, Mickey! And also Heidi and others.
Okay,
And
but
also-
can I just ask how many people came here to do all of this?
Believe it or not, we have 650 registered delegates.
That's 600. Wow. Okay. So basically the entire population of Finland is at the conference.
That's basically the population of my sauna right now.
Yes, I heard about that. Okay.
And at the University of Jyväskylä, we have the, for instance, the Finnish Citizen Science Center, and it has we have 6 leading citizen science areas at the University of Jyväskylä, and we also have co-creative citizen science. And for instance, I'm doing it, and there is my doctoral researcher Minna. So.
Yeah, and Finland, together with TSV, the Federation of Finnish Learned Societies, strongly supports open science. We promote transparency, accessibility, and collaboration, ensuring that research is not only produced by scientists, but shared widely with citizens and communities, strengthening both the quality and impact of research. And this makes citizen science a central and integral part of the Finnish scientific ecosystem.
Yes. See?
Onko kahvi?
Somessa on aina kahvia.
Sitten pärjätään. Mitä jos kahvi loppuu?
Ei ehkä puhuta siitä.
There will be coffee. There will be coffee. Don't worry, don't worry. We will have coffee for you as well. Actually, now we have really the essential set. We have coffee. We have wonderful people. So should we welcome everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Tervetuloa Ouluun.
Now it's hot. Dear distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, in Finland, as you may have heard, we are a people of few words. And so in appropriately Finnish style, we will try to keep this very short. My name is Roger Norum. I am a professor of cultural anthropology here at the University of Oulu, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the conference. I want at the beginning thank our dear team, colleagues Anna and Sanna, our local committee and scientific committee, our incredible colleagues at Nomad IT, and our wonderful EXA team members. You have really made this all possible. Thora and I may be chairs, but you guys are the tables. Sturdier, more useful, and harder to replace. Some of you in the audience may know that despite me having been in Oulu for almost 10 years, I've had a remarkably difficult time getting friends and family of mine based in New York to come visit me here in Oulu. They often give me the excuse, oh, it's too cold there, or there's no pizza in Oulu, which is not true. There's 49 pizza restaurants in Oulu city. But even colleagues elsewhere in Finland seem to find it quite difficult and have a sort of endless supply of excuses for why that particular month, they really can't travel north of Espoo. When someone usually says that they want to come to Oulu, the most appropriate response is typically, are you sure? So we were a little shocked when the registration started coming hot and heavy, and to be perfectly honest, a little surprised that so many of you wanted to come here. But since you were coming, we thought we would time the snow to fall at just the right moment this morning as you were coming to your sessions. We found budget to order extra sunshine yesterday for the reindeer farm visits, and we made sure that the saunas will be extra warm tonight. And I hope that looking around you now, you feel that it was all worth it and you know why you came. So thank you to all of you for coming this far to visit us here. This is the largest EXA conference ever. And at a time when so much of our work as citizens and as scientists are hidden behind screens, shared documents, carefully planned and timed Zoom meetings, there's somehow something quietly radical about coming together in person. To sit in the same room, to meet in the corridor or on a couch, to have a coffee together. In a world that often feels fragmented and frayed at the edges, coming together is not incidental. It is meaningful and it is necessary. And indeed, I think that bringing people together right now is one of the most important and powerful things that we can do. A conference like EXA 2026 is not just a collection of panels, presentations, and posters, although we do have many of those for you here. It is an infrastructure for a connection. It is where collaborations begin that none of us could ever have imagined or planned for, and certainly not in a Zoom room. It's where we remember that we are not working in isolation, that we are part of something larger than our individual projects and our many deadlines. But community does not happen on its own. It needs to be cultivated. It needs openness, generosity, and even sometimes a willingness to feel a little bit uncomfortable. One thing that, as a relative newcomer to Finland, I can say that Finns excel in is the awkward moment. This is that brief silence after a comment, the pause before someone responds, the shared stillness in an elevator or at the start of a meeting. But in Finland, these moments are actually not considered to be awkward at all. They're not considered to be failures of the social. They are in fact often signs of respect. Silence can indicate that words are being weighed carefully, that space is being given to others, that speech is not used to dominate, but to contribute with intention. So the awkward moment, in a sense, is not awkward, it is not empty, it is full of meaning and full of listening. And perhaps there is something in that for us here. Community is not only built through eloquent presentations or confident networking, it's also built through pauses, through thoughtful attention, through the quiet recognition that we are thinking together before we speak. These moments that we have together over the next few days are fleeting. They will not last forever. So I invite you, while you're here, to step a little bit out of your boxes, to feel a little bit awkward, and introduce yourself to someone that you don't know, ask strange questions, listen carefully, share generously, and if an awkward silence appears, take it in, embrace it. It might mean that something meaningful is taking shape. For Thora and I, EXA 2026 will be a success if unexpected connections are made, and if we all leave here feeling a little bit more connected and a little less alone in the important work that we do. Thank you.
Okay, so how did this all start? How did we get here and you here in these seats? Roger and I have been attending EXA conferences over the past several years now and have seen a very strong community growing. And also here at the Faculty of Humanities and in Biodiverse Anthropocenes at the University of Oulu, we have been trying to build a strong community of engaged researchers who work and are committed to participatory science. The university leadership has also prioritized this. So we have seen some real synergies growing in the past years across these groups, across these communities, and also really have looked for ways to bring citizens and scientists and policy community together. I myself have worked for many years in North and in different North on peripheral regions and also with marginalized communities. So I saw how important it is to bridge not only geographical center and periphery, but also epistemic center and periphery, and also institutional center and periphery. And it is this topic of bridging that we hope will guide us in this week that we're here together. But as you know, building a bridge is not that cheap, and building a bridge in winter is especially expensive. And so we are very lucky that many organizations, many groups, many people are working with us, have supported us in this adventure to host the EXA 2026 conference here in Oulu. So we are particularly thankful for the financial support of the Federation of Finnish Learned Societies, you met Joni, the University of Oulu, Biodiverse Anthropocene, the Eudaimonia Institute, the Sapphire Restoration Program and the Front Resilience Program, but also the Oulu Convention Bureau, the Eudaimonia Institute, the City of Oulu, and so many others, Spotteron, and of course the European Citizen Science Project, ESC, and the American Geophysical Union, Advancing Earth and Space Science Journal. But by far the most important contribution comes from all of you. You have given up your valuable time to come here. You have given up your comfortable, warm sofas to brave the cold, to jump into 20 centimeters of snow, yesterday to walk on the frozen sea, just to join us here in this wonderful time. And in return for your offer, we also, or for your effort and for your trust also in the Finnish weather systems, we really have some nice menu cuisine for you with northern flavors. During this week, we have more than 50 sessions, roundtables, also workshops for you. We have a poster session with over 120 posters, and we borrowed from our friends in Vienna 2024 a very liquid approach, let's say, to lubricate your conversations during the poster session. We have working group meetings, we have publisher meetings, we have the northernmost citizen science festival in the world here on Friday in Oulu as part of our conference. We have a roundtable on Saturday on northern cultures with distinguished and award-winning authors and guest speakers. And we have important networking communities, as Roger said. It is all about building relations and building connections. So please join us also this evening when we will have our reception at the City Hall. And if that is not enough for you to get to know each other, then you're warmly invited to take the river sauna every evening. Or you can also join us for the karaoke bar also tonight. Or you can just enjoy yoga every morning in the snow, outside, in the cold. So with this, I also have to say, and I think you noticed this all, that our EXA 2026 local committee, all on their own, has managed to get Oulu to be the host of the European Cultural Capital 2026. So that's just for you. So please take advantage of this gift. But we also wanted to be not just creative, but to really have creativity run through the conference, not just as an add-on. So please expect to be surprised, expect to see art pieces suddenly popping up next to you. Please visit our art salon to kind of dive into a world of senses, tasting, of making things, of doing things, of listening in. It's an art salon that is run by our local researchers and also local artists. And for those of you who have been to EXA conferences before, you know the very special kind of connective spirit that our citizen science family so much is nurturing and caring for. And for those who are new to the EXA, as Roger said, and I gladly echo, please be open to each other, listen with curiosity, listen with respect, and be open and talk to your neighbors maybe if you don't know them yet. And share your project, share your experience, and just help to make citizen science becoming more meaningful, more magically, and more creatively co-creative. So, we have in Finland a high trust in science. More than 85% of Finnish population trust in science, and so we thought that we could kick off this conference with one of the institutions that we have in Finland, the Ministry of Science and Culture. And it is now my honor and my pleasure to share a welcome greeting from Mari-Leena Talvitie, the Minister of Science and Culture of Finland. Minister Talvitie is a native-born Oulu resident, and she has studied environmental technology here at our university. And she had planned to be with us in this opening meeting in person, but unfortunately her official parliamentarian duties asked her to be in Helsinki today. But she has, however, sent her warmest greetings and support for our EXA 2020 conference in this short video that we will share now with you.
Dear guests, dear participants, I'm delighted to welcome you to Oulu, the capital of Northern Finland and the European capital of culture. It's my great pleasure to open the 6th European Citizen Science Association Conference. I want to thank the University of Oulu for hosting this event. My warmly thanks also go to the European Citizen Science Association for bringing this conference to the Nordic countries for the first time. Today we gather to share knowledge and to learn from one another. We are here to explore new research and to strengthen our professional networks. Scientific conference like this one play a central role in how science moves forward. They give researchers a place to present their work and to discuss new ideas. Many important breakthroughs start from these kind of meetings and conversations. Citizen science has become a strong and useful method in research. In some fields, it's now a core way to collect, analyze, and interpret data. Citizen science also supports education and strengthens communities. It helps build trust in science. Citizen science offers a way to support democracy and shared understanding. It can also create new cooperation between companies and lead to innovations. I'm proud of Finland, and my beloved hometown Oulu can host this important meeting of Europe's leading minds in citizen science. This conference reminds us of the values that we share in Europe. In a time of rapid changes and uncertainty, these values guide us. Democracy, equality, and the rule of law are not abstract ideals. They form the basis for mutual trust, collaboration, and the advancement of science. Research cooperation in Europe is more important than ever. Finland and Europe remain committed to the research environment that is open, inclusive, and forward-looking. Esteemed audience, science connects people across borders and disciplines. Alone, we see only part of the world. Together, we can understand it and change it for the better. As the African proverb says, if you want to go too fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I wish you all an inspiring and successful conference.
I would like now to introduce our Vice Rector for Research at the University of Oulu, Matti Latva-aho, to offer words of welcome on behalf of the university. Please, Matti.
Thank you, Roger. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues and dear guests, It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Oulu and to the EXA 26 conference. We are honored to host you in a place where the themes of this conference, citizen science and the relationship between center and periphery, are parts of our everyday experience. Here in the European North, at the edge of the Arctic, we understand what it means to work in regions sometimes seen as peripheral. Yet for us, these northern environments are centers of knowledge, innovation, and collaboration. They shape our strengths in Arctic science, sustainability research, digitalization, and resilience, areas where citizen science is becoming increasingly important. Citizen science is at the heart of University of Oulu's strategy. Our university is committed to impact, collaboration, interdisciplinarity, digitalization, sustainability, and a strong Arctic profile. Citizen science speaks to all of these. It is research with society, not only for society. And it strengthens societal trust in science through participation. Excellence in research today requires openness, not just open data, but open collaboration across disciplines and communities. Citizen science is a robust research infrastructure in itself, not just for outreach purposes. It enhances data richness and longitudinal scope, fosters societally relevant research, builds research literacy, democratizes science, and contributes to reproducibility and transparency. Trust in science grows when science is shared. Finland is uniquely positioned to lead participatory research. Our educational culture, high levels of institutional trust, a strong civil society provide a natural foundation for citizen science. We also have a tradition of voluntary associations and utilization of local knowledge. The University of Oulu is well positioned in the Finnish and European citizen science landscape. Our citizen science network is anchored in our Arctic strategy. We offer international masterclasses and courses in citizen science, and many of our Horizon Europe projects have a strong citizen science components. We are also actively engaged in European networks that advance the field. The Arctic context is central to our work. Oulu occupies a strategic point between subarctic and Arctic regions of Northern Europe. Rapid environmental and societal change in the Arctic makes local knowledge crucial. Remote geographies benefit from distributed scientific observation, and the Arctic teaches us that observation must be a shared responsibility. Our long heritage in digital ICT research, especially in wireless technologies, which is my own field of research, shows how digital tools can expand participation. Sensors, AI, mobile technologies, and data platforms enable participatory science, allow science to scale, and ensure that science remains meaningful throughout societal participation. A timely example is Muuttolintujen kevät bird migration tracker, a citizen science mobile application developed at the University of Jyväskylä that identifies and reports bird species based on their songs and engages the public in observing and reporting spring bird migration. It demonstrates how well-designed digital tools can mobilize thousands of contributors, enrich ecological datasets, and strengthen the connection between research and society in real time. Over the coming days, I encourage you to explore some of the following questions with curiosity and openness. How can citizen science help community facing climate pressures? How can it strengthen societal and technological resilience? How do we ensure digital tools empower rather than exclude? How can we create meaningful collaboration between researchers, communities, and decision makers to shape sustainable futures. Oulu is a fitting place for this conversation. We are a university committed to northern science, to green transitions, to digital innovation, and to resilient societies. And we know that none of this happens without strong partnerships across regions, disciplines, and communities. Thank you for being here and for the important work you contribute to this field. I wish you an inspiring and collaborative conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Rector, and for these stimulating questions as well, who will guide us for the next days. And this is now our great pleasure to invite on stage the EXA directorship, Roger and I, also with Anna and Sana. I'm immensely grateful for the company that you were really doing this journey together with us over the past years. And we are more than grateful and happy now that it all happened. I'm just going to put that down here.
Sure.
And don't disconnect.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Thora and Roger. My name is Susanne Hecker, and I'm the elected chairwoman of the European Citizen Science Association, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you here in Oulu, if I may, as in that role of chair of EXA. Over the past years, EXA has grown not only in scale, as we can see, and I think 650 is my favorite number now, but also in depth and diversity. What began primarily as a space to convene a community has evolved into a structured and dynamic network shaped by a wide range of voices, practices, and ambitions. Across Europe and beyond, our members, working groups, and partners have advanced citizen science as a way of doing research that is collaborative, inclusive, and socially, politically, and scientifically relevant, whilst implementing international frameworks like the Sustainable Development Goals or the European Open Science Framework. Together, we have moved from connection to consolidation, from meeting and exchanging to collectively building the infrastructures, relationships, and shared understanding that allow citizen science to thrive in different political, cultural, and institutional contexts. This evolution mirrors a broader transformation in research and society. Citizen science is no longer peripheral. It is increasingly embedded in funding frameworks, policy agendas, and institutional strategies. With that visibility comes responsibility. Our theme this year, Citizen Science Bridging Center and Periphery, speaks directly to the strategic challenges of our time. In a world marked by deep political upheavals, widening inequalities, and contested democratic norms, the divides between centers of power and perceived peripheries are becoming more pronounced geographically, institutionally, socially, and epistemically. Citizen science there has a potential to act as a bridge. We've heard that before. It can connect metropolitan research institutions with rural regions, established universities with grassroots initiatives, policy agendas with lived experience, and scientific expertise with invaluable local and indigenous knowledge. But bridging is not a given. It requires intentional design, equitable partnerships, resource distribution or redistribution, and awareness and willingness to question who defines agendas, and whose knowledge counts. Not the least, it requires respect. On a personal note, I am deeply moved to stand here today. 10 years ago, in 2016, I had the privilege to organize the first Citizen Science Conference in Berlin with many partners, and many of you are here today. Now, in 2026, to open our 6th conference in Oulu, the European Capital of Culture, reconnecting with long-standing partners and friends, and welcoming new faces, practitioners, and scholars into our community is both humbling and inspiring. We believe in the power of the people, not as a rhetoric, but as a strategic principle. When research meaningfully includes those who are often positioned at the margins, it strengthens both scientific quality and democratic resilience. Bridging center and periphery is therefore not only a methodological ambition, it is a societal commitment. Let us use these days in Oulu to examine where divides persist, where connections are working, and how we can collectively shape a citizen science landscape that is inclusive, robust, and future-oriented. Thank you, Dora, thank you, Roger, and their amazing team for preparing table and chairs, especially Anna and Sana, as well as everybody else involved. Now it is up to all of us, the participants, to make the most out of it. Thanks to the University of Oulu and the City of Oulu for hosting and supporting the conference, and thanks to the Government of Finland for their ongoing support for citizen science. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm Muki Hakalai. I'm the vice chair together and working closely with Suzanne and with Dorte on the activities of EXA. And EXA, as we just heard, is a community. So anyone here was in the conference in 2016? Please stand up. Now, anyone here, stay up, please. No, stay up, because there is something important that I want to ask you to do. Now, anyone here is in the conference for the first time? Woo! Okay, so the people are here for the first time. Notice the people who are here for a long time, and you need to talk. EXA is a really welcoming community, and one of the things that I really love about citizen science is how amazing the community of practitioners and researchers in the area. Don't be afraid to go and ask anyone a question. There is no such thing as stupid questions. Even if you ask, what about data quality in citizen science? Which, you get fed up after a while, but still it's not a stupid question. It's a relevant question. And also you can ask about motivation, if you want to. But that's the kind of thing, so thank you very much. And just remember, this is your opportunity, even if you are a newcomer and it's your first time, or if you've been here for all the way through and you know a lot of friends, do give up the space to make sure that those newcomers are integrated into our community and becoming really familiar with what's going on and being able to join in, and we're not kind of becoming exclusive in any way. And you need to remember that views that are expressed in the conference will bring different worldview and different ways of viewing the world and understanding it and thinking about it and thinking about the issues of it. And within that, we need to remember that citizen science can be a political act. Now, if you are a social scientist like me, you'll say, well, it's always political. But if you are a natural scientist, you say, what are you talking about? It's not political, it's just collecting evidence from nature. And we need to be a community where both epistemological views and worldviews are living together. And that's just a really trivial example towards other political and world issues that we might experience. So we will need to be respectful and accepting to the different views. Maybe it will make us uncomfortable, maybe it will be representing us in different ways, but we need to remember that people are coming here in order to share the view, and we need to interact in a good way between each other. And that's got us into the next thing. So, members of the board of EXA, please stand up. And those are the people who are dedicating their free time, because the whole board is based on volunteering, to support the organization and progress it. And we need you to help us. And the way that you'll help us, if you are already a member of EXA, start thinking about reaching out to the members of the board and ask them what it's like to be in the board. And there are also past members of the board, I'm sure, here, isn't it? So if you can stand up too and kind of share that people can recognize you and identify with that. On Thursday, we have a meet and greet, so you can come and talk with us, but start thinking about our next elections and your opportunity to become member of the board and shape this organization. And the opportunity is not just for people in later stages of their career. We need all the energy that we can get from all stages of the experience. So thank you very much. You my co-members of the board. And I'll pass over to Dorte.
Yeah, thank you very much, Muki. My name is Dorte Riemschneider. I'm Managing Director at EXA. And it's amazing to see so many people here. And Roger said it, over 600 people. And actually, I would like to know where you are all from, but we don't have the time. But I would like to ask all people from Oulu and also traveling from inside Finland here to stand up now. Thank you. That's also many. And now, thanks. And now I would like to ask the people from outside Europe to stand up. Also, with you. Thank you. This is a very high interest, and we are astonished about this interest, and we are also super happy about it. And it raises also questions. What does it tell us about the citizen science community in Europe and also internationally? Does it tell us about citizen science in general in Europe? And I will not answer this question. But I think Oulu is a great place to have this conversation. So I know that we have a very dense program, but we also have built-in space for having conversations, discussions, for anything that doesn't fit into a session format. So I would like to ask if you use this time, talk to people outside of your network, make these conversations about things that are on your head, come with your unguarded questions. And I think most important, enjoy this conference and yeah, welcome.
Yeah, it is now our great honor and pleasure to introduce our two keynote speakers, Professor Camilla Bratland and Professor Bente Sundsvold, who will be delivering a joint keynote today. Camilla Bratland is a coastal Sami person from Keivuotno, from Keifort in northern Sapmi, on the Norwegian side of Sapmi, and also professor at UiT, the Arctic University of Norway. And she is doing research on the intersection of indigenous Sami knowledge, environmental governance, and community-led research. So Camilla's research centers on mostly Sami knowledge systems, on seascapes and waterscapes, and the participation of Sami and other indigenous peoples in environmental governance, particularly within the blue social and ecological systems, where, as you will see, identity, livelihoods, language, culture, memory, stories are all intertwined. Camilla is widely recognized and definitely a model for many of us for the approaches that she uses in her research that place communities at the very heart of knowledge production and ensure that knowledge is not only respected and preserved, but also cared for and carried forward. Professor Bratland is very actively involved in major collaborative research projects, some of them in the Dietno River up north, others also in the Lake Setana project that look into salmon fishing cultures, and projects that helps build bridges not only between disciplines, but also build a dialogue between indigenous knowledge and Western knowledge. And this is very important today because it's thanks to Camilla's work that we can see how inclusive and really respectful research can lead to much more equitable and more sustainable and more just environmental governance practices. And what makes Camilla's scholarship so remarkable for all of us is her very strong commitment to community and to participation. Knowledge is not something that we study. Camilla's work shows us that knowledge is really something that we share, that we protect, and that we nurture together and carry forward. And joining this afternoon with Camilla is Bente Sundsvold. Bente also comes from northern Norway, like a little bit southern part, but is also living in Tromsø, where she is associate professor in visual anthropology. Bente teaches in a master program on visual and multimodal anthropology and has played and still plays a central role in guiding also early career researchers in very engaged research and engaged filmmaking especially. So her research teaches us here together in this conference on qualitative methods, on visual ethnography, and on approaches such as multi-species approaches and other than human approaches to social science. Alongside Bente's dedication to teaching, she's also leading collaborative research. She was leading the Fuglarveit project that looked into ways how local knowledge can help address environmental challenges. She was also taking part in the Food Coast project. And in general, you will see in her research, it highlights how relations between humans and other than humans, other life form can shape knowledge and can shape resilience and also a sustainable way of life. So both of Camilla's work and Bente's work together in this keynote, I think they challenge us to see things differently, to listen maybe more closely, and also to think more broadly about the connections, about the relationalities that sustain life and culture. So please join me in very warmly welcoming Professor Camilla Bratland and Professor Bente Sundsvold. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Thora, for the fantastic introduction. And now I feel very humbled to try to fulfill all of these expectations. So no 10-minute break for us, but we'll make you a little bit relaxed also as we speak. So just need a few moments to get set up here. Joo, Bude Päivi, täällä huistuura kutni, mitä täällä taas Oulus, täällä Eurooppa hovda kauppo tanjagi. Thank you so much for inviting us here to Oulu, the European capital, cultural capital this year. So as Thora said, and also many of the introductors today mentioned, what we would like to talk about is to how to bridge different knowledge systems, bridging the center and the periphery. And we put on this title, Bridging Indigenous Knowledge with Citizen Science. And we'll provide some nice examples of Sami narratives of climate and biodiversity change. And I hope this will inspire you for the rest of the conference. So Matti said that Oulu is on the periphery. And, our case is from the Porsangerfjord in the very north of Norway, and we think about that perhaps as a center sometimes, but today perhaps it's more on the periphery. And we are coming here to Oulu as what we see as a center today. Yeah, so our case, we will take you to the Porsangerfjord. And one of the key issues when it comes to citizen science perhaps is the ability to make observations visible. And the Porsangerfjord is the story of how observations of climate change, of biodiversity change remain largely invisible and have been silenced in government databases, on national narratives about climate change and about fisheries. And for instance, this image, I think, provided to us by which is the leader of Merasida, the local Sea Sami center that we work together with, illustrates. It's from 1987, in an age long before we had handheld smartphones and apps to help us record these observations. It's from the invasion of seals to the northern Norwegian coast. And it was an event that really put a gap in the history of the social ecological system of the fjord. Before the seal invasion, before the introduction of the cod quota system that followed the seal invasion, people talk about a system with abundant resources, where they had the ability to fetch, to live from the land, from the resources. And after this, after the dramatic changes in the climate and environment, they talk about an empty fjord. Yeah, some of these projects that we have been working on have been converted into story maps, data sets, and some of them are now also available through Arctic projects and Arctic initiatives to connect different Arctic observing systems, such as the Arctic Passion project and other systems such as the ELOCA network. So I just wanted to guide the attention to the fact that there are all of these ongoing Arctic observation and local knowledge mapping projects, and I hope you will. There are many of them presented here today, and there's an opportunity to follow those projects also through other platforms. We'll show a film now to exemplify the indigenous knowledge and the feelings about the climate and biodiversity changes that I try to describe. And I'll give the word to Bente so she can explain a little bit about the film.
And while you change the system. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. Should say to Camilla. It's Camilla who asked me to come with her to Oulu. So a bit about some of the ideas we are working with in this presentation is how to, it was said, how to link the epistemology, the knowledge base, and the worldviews in citizen science or in management overall. And that's not an easy question. So we are trying throughout this presentation to have some film clips, sequences made in several projects we have had together in Porsanger the past 10 years or so. So I will come back to the film, but we thought it was nice to go there and see what it's like to be a fisherman. This might be 15 years ago he's speaking. Yeah. So please, can you screen?
Aldri på det at det kunne bli fritt for fiske i Porsangerfjorden. I hvert fall gjorde jeg det aldri. Nei, det var ikke... Den tanken streifet meg ikke engang. Det var usannsynlig.
Og nå det mindre mat. Så det betyr da at det mindre steinbit og...
Ja, så starten på elendigheten var nok antageligvis allerede sånn som mange hevder på begynnelsen av 50-tallet.
Så tidlig?
Ja, når de her sildesnørperne kom inn, da startet man elendigheten. For da kom de inn og tok all silda som var inne her. Også den bestand som hørte til i Porsanger. Man tømte rett og slett fjorden for sild. Og nå når man ute og reiser i verden, så ja, hvor kommer du fra? Ja, fra Porsanger. I Porsanger. Dæken, hva sild vi tok der i 50-tallet. Jeg må nesten beherske meg for ikke å fly i stupen på. Men det er klart, folk snakker seg visste jo ikke. De trodde også sånn som vi andre. Nei, havet er uttømmelig. Men man begynte å reagere på seisnørpere som kom hit på 70-tallet. Det begynte man også å knurre på. Når de kom og så tok den der små seien som var under 1 kilo. Her skal vi se. Det var ofte at man hadde stor sei her og helt inni her på 60-tallet. Altså stor sei, da mener jeg sånn over 6 kilo. På 70-tallet så var den ikke inni her, men den var enda her, men ikke stor sei. Da hadde man liksom stabbseien. På 80-tallet så hadde man grønnsporingene enda her. Små sei og grønnsporinger, det hadde man enda inni her. Men etter hvert så var faktisk stabbseien også borte. Storseien og stabbseien og også grønnsporingen. Og nå vet jeg ikke hvor langt ut igjen du må for oss å finne det. Kanskje helt ut til Kjæs. Dere ser jo sikkert en god del med båter, men det er krabbe. Det er krabbefangster. Det er litt vemodig egentlig. Russekrabbe er jo godt, men jeg hadde foretrukket seimølja innimellom.
Okay, so while we wait for, yeah. Yes, so, yeah. So the films that we made are one of, well, now it turned into, there were multiple films throughout the duration of the projects. And in the end, it turned out that we published a series of 12 videos texted in with subtitles in English, with people speaking their local languages and drawn from an extensive field work, interviews with people, collaborative work with people. And the reason why we did these films was to document the historical use, ongoing Sami caring practices of the Porsangerfjord seascape. And the methods that we also included range from documenting ecosystem services, fishing places, to conducting these visual ethnographies. We used map-based interviews, collaborations with local knowledge institutions and community-based researchers in the field, where subsistence and nature use data were collected and curated as spatial datasets that can now be integrated in open data platforms, such as the Global Biodiversity Infrastructure. And although this kind of citizen science approach makes indigenous knowledge and nature use, it can make it more visible on the map. It also involves extraction and distillation of parts of a system of knowledge, practice, and belief, with the risk of compromising the values and perspectives of Sami knowledge holders, such as Hartvik in this film. So working together with Bente, we tried to counter this effect by producing the series of videos, using story maps to narrate the temporal and spatial changes in the use of land and seascapes, as well as the contributions from nature to human well-being over time. So we hope that these narratives will convey rich and complex stories of multiple changes, which go beyond the framework of citizen science. And in the project, Merrasida, the local Sea Sami Center, has been one of the main partners. It started with the municipality of Porsanger calling for help from researchers actually in the beginning of the 2000s to document the changes, to help visualizing what they saw as a major knowledge gap in what was then the government data on business as usual. Yeah, so this is an overview of some of the knowledge holders or the locations of the interviews and the collaborations that we had. It's 15 of them. Yeah, you can just scroll further down. And in many ways, it's a critique of the approaches that were normally used for mapping change, for mapping biodiversity. And Bente, maybe you can say a little bit about your approach to this.
I think we go back a step because I think for myself, I have learned so much by working with Camilla during these years. Coming from the academia, but also coming from a very engaged part of academia with the visual anthropology and the visual mediations and explorations. So we carry video cameras wherever we go when we're in fieldwork. So this was a project where we were trying to map, or I was curious, related to how is nature made governable. And that's a huge literature on this, inspired by the STS and the science studies approaches, which focus on practices. So how are the scientific practices done? So I was joining in a biological commission team by the directorate, mapping the NIN system, the Norwegian Biodiversity Mapping Program or Action Plan for keeping biodiversity in the country. So I was curious, how is this done? How is it done? So I was quite surprised when I came in the field, and I was hanging behind a biologist during the day and learned a lot. But what surprised me was that he was carrying the tablet with him, and of course the system of NIN was in the tablet, so he was registering while we were walking in the landscape, on species, on landscapes, on differences in the landscape, on rivers, and all this. By doing this, he was immediately sending that info directly to the database of the directorate. So what a powerful tool to go in the field and link to a database and have it accessible for anybody. During this trip, we were walking in a scattered landscape of, how can I say, abandoned houses and livings, but they were also there. I knew the place quite well, so I knew that people were using this landscape every weekend and came back to their homesteads very often. So we were walking in people's backyards and in the gardens, and we were identifying black listed plants, which went directly into the database. But I was also very surprised about the competence of the biologist on how he, through the plants, through the landscape, through the biology, could trace a cultural history of settlement. Where had the agriculture been? Where have the differences between the fields, the infields and the outfields been? And all this. So I learned a lot, but I was also had to ask him, because we were working in this cultural landscape, why don't you ask people about these things? I mean, they know the history. They know which fields they have been growing and which field they were making for the beta, for the grazing. So then they said, yeah, we do that when we meet them. But the directorate doesn't give us money to put local knowledge into our system, or so that we can meet with local people. So this was kind of an eye-opener for me, how the governance of biodiversity was done in our country. This is almost 10 years ago. And another thing is that this landscape he was mapping and identifying, they are called semi-cultural landscapes in the categories. And that's landscape made by nature and humans. So we came, how can I say, when I started to work in Porsanger, they came up like a national scheme of cultural landscapes all over the country. And the Gorohat Sandvika Peninsula was designated one of these landscapes. When this was done, I followed that process as well. When that was done, this had to be the basis. But politically, the interest was that it was a Sea-Sami landscape. So here is some gaps in how we, in a way, can include local knowledge also in that, scheme. And I think that's also one of the issues here, how the local knowledge really have a lot to learn us about both biodiversity, but also about diversity, cultural diversity, which we need to protect both. This is the deal. We have to make both.
Yes, and some of the challenges with it's great. It's good initiatives, and people can also contribute through with their own observations through this national species diversity bank, Artsdatabanken. But some of the challenges for the Sami community is that there are no terms in Sami language that people recognize if they want to upload observations about species in their own terminology, for instance, and it's also just bits and pieces of their full life experience that gets included in databases such as this one. So what should we do then? And as Bente said, one of the mediums that we use are these films. And Bente, what is this one about?
I think this.
And if you could put on,
This one is exactly about what they could have learned from talking to local people in Porsanger about the cultural landscape. And it's an irony that when it was designated, it was like a sector collaboration between agriculture, culture, and environment. But the fishery weren't there. So the border was set by the shore. And a Sea-Sami cultural landscape, a fisherman, farmer's landscape is never ending at the shore. So that's what we also learn here.
For folket. Her, det var jo bare å ro utfor her og hente kokfisk, eller sette ut noe flindregarn. Det var garantert at det var fangst. Men setter man ut flindregarn nå, så får man bare krabbe. Ja. Men ellers fjorden har jo vært brukt, altså Holman her, og så har jo vært brukt fjordfolket her til, det har jo vært eggsanking. Det var jo også matauk før i tida, ja. Og multer, men det er de jo fortsatt, multebærvokser, det er jo fortsatt på Holman her, og det plukker folk. Det gjør de. Blant de Holman også. Nå vet jeg jo at det eksisterer jo planer om fredning også av Indre Porsanger. Ja, der finnes planer om det også.
Og hva tenker du på om det?
Nei, det kan vi ikke godta. Her har vi forvaltet fjorden og Holman på våres måte. Her er ingenting å frede. Og hvem den skal fredes for? Eller, vi er ikke til noe fare for fjorden. Tvert imot, det kan jeg også fortelle deg sånn som de Holman du ser her. Det er kjempeområde for fugler og hekke. Og hver vår, i hvert fall i 40 år, så har vi organisert folk dit for å ta ut rev, som ellers ville spist opp og skremt alt av fugleliv. Ja. Jeg kan ikke tenke meg hvor mange dugnadstimer som er satt bare til det her i fjorden. Ja, altså det bygdefolket som vi avtaler at først så tar vi turer ut straks isen løsner sånn i begynnelsen av mars, så tar vi turer og ser om vi ser spor på holmen etter rev. Ja. Og da organiserer vi for å jakte på det.
Ja.
For det har hendt enkelte år at vi ikke har klart å få tatt reven. Og da ser vi, og det har virkning i flere år, det der at når reven har uroa fuglene som jo spist egg, så fuglene forlater området. Og det har vi jo eksempler på. Vi har jo Holma her i fjorden, hvor det kan man si det er umulig å få has på det. De er så store. Og det er ikke noe fugl. Det finnes ikke. Nei da, det må jeg si at bygdefolket, sjøsamene her, har tatt virkelig vare på Holman også her. Det er ikke noe annet å si om det. Ja. Og det vet jeg også, det er ikke småfiskerne her inne i fjorden som har tatt knekken på fjorden. Nei.
Yes. So, and I think that's, Bente, do you want to say something more? Yeah. So I think that one of the issues, perhaps that we encountered, we also tried to develop a survey on the phone to send out to people, but some of the issues is that why would people even respond to a survey? Why would they be interested in doing that? It's not in their language, perhaps they don't have time, they are not familiar with the smartphone and so on, perhaps their sons or daughters are. So we ended up with doing this very personal and face-to-face and deeply qualitative work with the knowledge holders. But what we also did was to make these map-based interviews with very structured interview formats, and we had people filling out forms, interviewing people face to face, and then I digitized the data and made these data sets. And it's also connected to a historical work that the Merasida Center had already done. They had already collected a lot of traditional knowledge, a lot of place names, and stories of changes connected to the place names, and we had the basic kind of spatio-temporal changes in the social ecological system. So the data sets that resulted from this work, they have some central variables. They can be presented in online web maps like this, and as I said, also to be shared openly on the global biodiversity infrastructure. And well, it's for presentation purposes, I just included some of it here. And for instance, this is Ove Stødle's harvesting area, and he says that he's using it for berry picking, taking out stuff for making dochi. He's harvesting grass, he's fishing in the lakes, he's doing a lot of activities that's associated with the act of metsästäpmi, or being in the space that is nature. You're harvesting nature as part of Sami culture. And I think that throughout the project we had this tension, I guess, me and Bente, between I wanted to make these data sets that could travel and be integrated into the government databases, and then all the time having to also engage with the critique and trying to counter the extractive effect of doing this horrible work with indigenous knowledge. Yeah, I think that perhaps one of the effects or the results of doing this work, however, is to visualize where has the landscape and where have the practices been silenced. So in this map, the pink areas you see, those are the government mappings by the Directorate of Fisheries, and what they do is that they also do great work in interviewing fishers about the locations of their harvesting areas. It's just that they interview commercial fishers, people who have registered fishing vessels and do it for a living, while the people that we interviewed are those who are harvesting on a daily basis. They are harvesting multiple species. They have done it throughout their lifetimes. So perhaps one of the interesting things that I see coming out of this is exactly the method of how to map those very daily practices, which clearly do not overlap with the commercial fishing data sets. Perhaps another example, this is the paper, one of the paper maps that knowledge holders were invited to draw on during the interview. And it's a lot of information to digitize from this. You can see some of the areas are very tiny, people have very detailed knowledge of every kind of nook and cranny on the bottom of the seascape. And also some areas are of course quite large and flexible because they are used for different purposes and throughout the year. Yeah, and as I told you in the beginning, what happened then after the crash or when the fjord turned empty. And we spent a lot of time documenting the abundance that's silenced in today's maps. And I think that it's a challenge to visualize that change. And but video is a nice way of making that change visible.
Kyllä alla vuodeskaan ja miten alle fiskadallekin on jättänyt tätä. Det raka on fina kaja det säger. Det är det olufoton sama pohtaan hävillä. No, ta jäykkä pohta fiskada tätä. Ja eilen just mihkele vuonasta. Tämä oli että piditään posanku vuonna. Ja ei kaunun että kuoli tästä torra olemat teikka ja tahte teki vilsuvan puolaan pyytit no viutu samasta teki ta kisse per käyttää pohja. Ei perustankin pyytin hän pitää se pyytillä. Ta vältte båt. Ja piiritekki tämä jäi tarpsan vältti. Mie hoitsun tammere että vuossan kuoli. Tämä ei häjyssä äikki karttai. Mutta oli kapitalistat var båt. Ja.
Yes, so now we have seen a lot of men talking in the videos, but we did also interview women, but sometimes it's hard actually to make videos with people who are perhaps unfamiliar with what they are consenting to, and we had quite an extensive consent process throughout the project, and I think that's one of the videos that we made with Anni, who is here on the picture. It's a fantastic work, but it hasn't been published, and that's also due to some of these consent issues that people actually need to, say that it's okay for them to be displayed on a video like this and to be publicly, to be published online. So for this video, we don't have a video, but it was part of an exercise where we mapped ecosystem services, or so-called nature's contributions to people, for a community. So, Bente?
Yeah, I was thinking, I think you said it, that we didn't do the interviews. So it was Merasida's people and local people who did the interviews in order to keep the knowledge at the institution, to avoid all these consent problems. I think part of, because we have been together for, these are several projects in Porsanger over the years. And I also wanted to say I'm really thankful for that we could, in a way, that there is like a continuum in what we have experienced and in the relation building with the place. Of course, there is a research fatigue, and because of that, you need to keep relations warm, and that's a really important aspect, I think. So with Annie, I think also we should say that this is part of two projects. So we have been in the inner part of the fjord so far. So we also wanted to see how it was on the outer part of the fjord. And there is also a distinction. I mean, Indre Billefjord is one of the few villages where people speak Sami language on a daily basis in the coastal Sami area. So just moving to 20 kilometers further out in the fjord, you come to a completely different situation. So this is also part of what you call the consent discussions here, that people are really, there's so much politics around being a Sami and what can you say and for whom and all this. So Anne, she didn't want to be recognized as a Sami, but she knew exactly what a Sami nature use was about. So talking to her and interviewing her, also walking in the landscape, and which I did after the contact was established, was an amazing discovery of what women know, also in the fisheries, because she has not been a fisherman, but she has been fishing all her life. She knew all the places to fish and all the sorts of fish and all this. So I thought that was a great work, and the last word is not said yet. We're going back.
Yeah, and we're nearing the end here. So actually, based on this work, I was part of one of the reports now that's made as part of the Finnmark Commission's work. The Finnmark Commission is a commission investigating now who actually owns the land in Finnmark. As many of you perhaps know or don't know, in 2005, the ground, 90% of the ground in Finnmark was transferred from the state to local ownership, with the aim of investigating Sami rights to land and waters, local rights, ownership rights to the land. And so it has come quite far, and Porsanger was investigated just last year, and it's still ongoing. And as part of another project, they use a similar method of interviewing people about their land and resource use, and I think that this can be also a fantastic resource for future projects to make I want to make a database out of this, and then people can protest if they think it will be too extractive of indigenous knowledge systems.
We're going to end with The Good Life by the Fjord. And I think that's some of if we want to get some glimpses into different life worlds, this could be one way of doing it, to let people speak for themselves and come through the screen by themselves. Of course, edited and all this, but still. And I just wanted to go back to the beginning, because the first video we saw was screened at a big meeting Camilla managed to make in Laxer, in the center of Porsanger, with the directorate, with the fishery organizations, Bivdut, the Sami fishery, the county governor, Merasida, of course, and the municipality, and all this. It was really a huge meeting. And we started with this first film. And during this meeting, Hartvig became one. There were no other local knowledge holder present in this meeting. But he became part of the discussion. So people started to refer to Hartvig, what he said during the discussions in the meeting. And I thought that was so amazingly nice to experience. So this is more to end there with how can I say, the sense of being at a place, and that's what it's all about. That's what makes us want to live where we live, and we need to keep that dimension into the mapping systems and the policy and management.
No, I think that's very nicely put, and we can answer any questions afterwards.
Vad har du gjort för att du har fortsatt på tiden med Laxby?
Nå, det er jo mange ting. Det er jo selvfølgelig liten det er jo en ekstrainntekt, og så er det jo en tradisjon, pluss at det er matøktid. Ja. Og så at det er veldig trivelig å holde på med det når. Ja. Mange ganger er det jo når det er dårlig vær og lite fisk, så tenker man jo at det er nå kanskje tull det her man holder på med, men nei, da man glemmer fort I dagene det har vært dårlig vær og kaldt.
Och vad är det som gör det så trivligt?
Jeg ser nå på været nå. Ja. Ser det ikke fristende ut å starte ut på fjorden og røkte laksegarn. Ja.
Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing this with us. It was very inspirational and very important also for this gathering. And yeah, I invite you to maybe sit down if you want, because we are standing up all the time, but you can also stay here if you prefer. And I invite everyone of you, if you have questions or comments, or if it resonates with you, what we saw, what we listened to, then please just raise your hand. We have mics here, and we'll come to give you the opportunity to ask questions to Camilla and to Bente. Do you want to sit down or no? It's fine.
Hello, thank you very much for this really interesting keynote, really lovely opening I was really interested in what you said about consent and people knowing what they're agreeing to. And it resonates a bit with research I'm trying to develop as well. And I wonder, could you share if there are any sort of really unexpected experiences or moments where there was maybe a pushback that you weren't expecting or found challenging to deal with? Thank you.
Yeah, that was an issue that we worked on quite a bit, and it's a balance between the constraints of the Norwegian system, where you have to notify a project and get the approval that you have done things correctly. And what we did when it comes to the videos is that, well, not all of the people actually consented to having the videos publicly screened, for instance, the first time when they were filmed, or there was a context where we didn't even think that this would be relevant to use in a video. So we had to go through a two-step process. And Bente, you want to say more?
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do, working with the video and film. Or images where people can be recognized. And I think actually that it's very nice because we have to be proper, make a proper job on ethics working with visual images. So it's not something you just do. You have to build trust. You have to build a relation to people, and that they know what we will use it for, and what's in it for them is also part of what is really important to find out in that process.
Hello. Ooh. Hi. That was really interesting. Thank you. My question is also about consent. How did you ask the community to consent when you took images of the landscape? Was it one person or a lot of people?
Yeah, there's no requirement to do collective consent for the research project to be approved by the Norwegian Data Protection Officer. So we didn't encounter that question. But we did collaborate with the Merasida local center on the design of the project, what kind of themes we should focus on, and they were also very much involved in picking out the knowledge holders and collaborating with us on making the field available and so on. So I very much feel that it's been this has been a co-production with the local community.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It was really lovely to hear all these stories. I'm actually curious about the impact of this kind of work and your work in particular. Like we heard about, for example, the conflict between nature conservation and the local views, and also conflict between the traditional modern ways of using these areas. So how do you see, or has there actually been any impact already that your work has changed how the decision makers or planners or managers of these areas are considering the value of this local knowledge? Or do you anticipate or see that it could have? And how could that impact be achieved? Thanks.
Yeah, this is, I think it's a very good question, and something that I guess it's something that a lot of us struggle with. What is the real impact? It's videos on a web page, or it's interviews published in a paper. So what is actually the real change here? And part of the change, I think, is that it contributes to a broader knowledge basis. As I said, some of it is included in the Finnmark Commission report. And now when, for instance, the county governor is establishing a marine protected area in the inner part of the fjord, they use our sources, our maps, our data sets. But it still depends on the political winds and willingness of the local politicians, of the regional politicians, if they want to, what kind of choice they want to make about the management and how to use the resources in the fjord. So actually, as part of the Future Arctic Lives project, we had a few workshops where we asked people, should you now prioritize restoring the fjord and using local and traditional knowledge to restore the cod stocks in the inner part of the fjord, using the knowledge about where species were abundant in the past, or would you like to develop the fjord, for instance, with more salmon farms? And that it depends on the political winds, so to speak. So that will always be a tension, but at least we have produced some knowledge, some data, made some views visible that were not there from before.
I think you are just incredible in that part. It's not easy, but I think you do a good job in connecting on that level. But there is a different level as well. And I think that's about how we build communities. And that, how could I say, part of all this project has been an intention to strengthen the community on pride of the past, on knowledge about where they live, and all these aspects. And I see that also in what mentioned the Fugland Veit project in the introduction, in an urban setting, how strongly that can be made by doing actions and making a community voice also in the towns. So I think there are two dimensions which are really important about it.
Thank you very much for sharing. After voicing the people and empowering them in this way, when you were talking in the municipal levels, did they refer that some decisions were made due to listening to the voice of the people? Or some decisions were not made because of listening to the local people? Thank you.
It's a difficult question, and one of the real problems, I think, is actually making the connection between. It's perhaps you have also experienced this, that what is the community, and sometimes the communities that we as researchers work with are actually quite disempowered or disconnected from their own local governments. And this is perhaps one of the issues that we saw. It's that a municipality and the local government has to take into account all voices and multiple voices, and perhaps our research projects strengthen the capacity of some of those. So I don't have an answer, but I will just, commend you for the great question and challenge.
Could I also add on the micro level? I was thinking about this meeting in Repvåg between the outer and the inner part of Porsanger Fjord. And they don't meet often. So that's also something about creating like meeting points which are a bit outside the comfort zone. And I think that's so important for making alliances. And I think that's That's actually the one thing we can do.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing your work with us. It occurs to me that that watching a video that you've created is one kind of experience, and creating the video and interacting with the people is a different kind of experience. And I'm really curious how the whole project has changed your own perceptions.
I'm not sure if I understood the question. From the filming part to the editing part, is that your question?
Yeah, from actually having had the lived experience of being in these places and talking with these people, has that changed your own personal perspectives?
Yeah, of course.
And in what ways, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I'm not a Sami person, and also working in a Sami community, it's there is a lot of issues to take care of. But I've been working with traditional knowledge holders my whole professional life as an anthropologist. So in a way, I also see how similar things are across the cultural barriers. So I think that's really amazed me, that how much we are in a way grown in order to think categories and to think differences. And suddenly you see that this is very similar, very, not identical, but it's very similar, and it's very communicative between them. So I think this is also part of, when I talked about the alliances, that experience has also made me realize that we need to push the comfort zone in order to make changes.
Thank you.
Well, I think that it's when you do work as a researcher, you have to continually, question yourself and be critical of your own work. And I think that this going through this whole cumbersome video process, it took lots of years and a lot of time. And I wondered a lot of times, why don't we just do it in a more effective way? We could have achieved the same result with, just making people put some dots on the map and be done with it. So, but I think I learned to be more patient, and actually making these quality videos, which took a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of dedication. But in the end, they are there and they cannot be kind of undone. You can actually edit a dot on a map, you can edit a picture or a drawing, but a video is something that you actually cannot change what people told you in that moment or what they conveyed. So I think that's perhaps what I learned, that it's not just about making the data and then we're over and done.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much again to both of you. It was wonderful. And before we continue, I would like to invite you to join our EXA quiz and game. So you have here the QR code. So just join our Signal group, please. And then EXA will text you the question, one question in every break. And please come with an answer then to the EXA booth, just in TEDUS space, before the break ends, for your reward. So 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, now let's stop for this game for now. You are hopefully now all in our Signal group. And yeah, I invite everyone coming back in. Good that you took the chance to take your coats. Okay, now we were saying to you that this is also a very creative way of doing our conference, and we invited you to be surprised. And yeah, no, there will be a surprise musical guest. Enjoy.
Siellä on hieno hietaketto, sinne päällä lapseni saadan. Siellä on lapsen postiolla, tuoren Herran maijalla, kaisea tuorelan karja. Siellä on lapsen postiolla, illan tullen ovitella, helmassa tuorelan ilmen. Onpa mulla lysti olla, kuulla meidät kelatella, kuulla kelatella.
Thank you. We are mieskuorohuutajat, also known as Screaming Men's Choir. You just heard the most famous lullaby of Finland. And we will go with this on the same theme. The following one comes from Iceland, and it's about outlaws at the lava field that probably come and steal our sheep. The only role the citizens have is to fear. Our last Nordic lullaby comes from Denmark. There is a crow in a tree, comes a nasty hunter, shoots the crow down. Now the crow is dead. That's how we educate our children. We now go nearer to the theme of the conference and have a couple of national anthems in the program. The role of the citizen is often determined in the national anthems, on some level at least. The first one comes from Hungary, and it refers to the relationship with the people and God. Sometimes they ask for mercy, sometimes they give real clear instructions to God how to handle the things. Hymnus from Hungary.
Istenem adjar szentnek, Istenem
the bilingual national anthem of Belgium. To save your time, we do the Flemish and the French part on top of each other. Maybe representing the roles and stereotypes of different nationalities in this beautiful country. La Brabançon.
O dierbaar België, o heilig land der varen, o dierbaar België, des land der Belgen, o dierbaar Tombo, o dierbaar België, des land der Belgen, o dierbaar Tombo.
The following number comes from Finnish legislation. It's the first law that was written in Finland to guarantee some kind of rights for the minority of Sami-speaking people. And this comes from 1992. I correct, 1991. And practically it says that Sami people have to use the Sami language. They have the right to use the Sami language. Okay, we had to have a law for that. Now I think we have to use the subtitles. There are too many things in the next piece, and I am emptied with these. I don't know what they are. The Constitution of Finland.
Suomi on täysivaltainen tasavalta. Valta Suomessa kuuluu kansalle. Kansalle. Suomi on täysivaltainen tasavalta. Valta Suomessa kuuluu kansalle. Kansalle. Kansanvaltaan sisältyy oikeus vaikuttaa ja vaikuttaa. Vaikuttaa ja vaikuttaa. Yhteiskunnan ympäristön kehittämiseen. Kaikissa julkisen toiminnan tavoin noudatettava lakia. Julkisen vallan käytön tulee perustua lakiin. Kaikessa julkisessa toiminnassa täysin noudatettava lakia. Tieteen, taiteen ja ylimmän opetuksen turvattu. On turvattu. Ketään tässä ilmaan hyväksyttävää perustetta asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ei saa asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään hyväksyttävää perustetta asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ei saa asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään hyväksyttävää perustetta asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ei saa asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ilman hyväksyttävää perustetta asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ei saa asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ilman hyväksyttävää asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ei saa asettaa eri asemaan. Ketään ilman hyväksyttävää asettaa eri asemaan. Henkilökäyvän syyn perusteella. Jokaisella on uskonnon ja vapaus. Jokaisella on uskonnon ja vapaus. Oikeus ilmaista vakaumus ja vapaus. Oikeus kuulua tai olla kuulumatta. Jokaisella uskonnolliseen yhteiskuntaan. Jokaisella oikeus ilmaista vakaumus. Jokaisella oikeus kuulua tai olla kuulumatta. Uskonnolliseen yhteiskuntaan. Jokaisella on uskonnon ja oman tunnon vapaus. Jokaisella on uskonnon ja oman tunnon turvattu. Jokaisella on elämä ja kunnia on turvattu. Jokaisella on elämä ja sotiin rauha. Jokaisella on elämä ja kunnia on turvattu. Jokaisella on elämä ja sotiin rauha. Jokaisella on elämä ja elämä. Jokaisella on elämä ja sotiin rauha. Jokaisella on elämä ja elämä. Jokaisella on elämä ja sotiin rauha. Jokaisella on oikeus ja vastuunaan. Jokaisella on elämä ja sotiin rauha. Jokaisella on oikeus ja vastuunaan. Jokaisella on oikeus ja elämään rauha. Jokaisella on uskonnon ja oman ilman vapaus. Jokaisella on oikeus elämään vapaus. Elämään vapaus.
Thank you. We end our performance with the hymn for Europe, Ode an die Freude.
Oh, Freunde, nicht diese Töne, sondern lasst uns angenehmere anstimmen und freudevollere. Oh, Freunde, Freude! Diese Töne, sondern lasst uns angenehmere anstimmen und Freude, Freude! Oh, Freunde, Freude! Diese Töne, schönen Götterfunken, uns angenehmere Freude! Oh, Freunde, Freude! Trinken alles Wesen an den Brüsten der Natur und westliche Gott zerstöre meine Tür auf diesem Mund. Freude, trinken alles
Kiitos.